الحمد لله وكفى والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين صلاة والسلام عليك يا رحمة للعالمين وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا شفيع المذنبين. Respected Imam, ulama, shuyukh, especially our sisters and viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. The Imam of the Masjid has instructed me, I deem it as an instruction, to touch on the topic of Badr. As it is a Friday and the 17th of Ramadan, of course the topic that I was due to speak on is the inner dimensions of ihtikaf. But I will try and reel the concept of ihtikaf or bring it to the fore, linking it with it is not actually the tafsir and the haqiqah of what the Quran is and when the Quran was actually revealed. Remember, the Quran took 23 years to reveal. And when the Archangel Gabriel, on the first occasion when he approached the Holy Prophet ﷺ with the verse Iqra, it was basically the initiation of the Quranic revelation. In the like manner, Ramadan is such, as it is, or with every Ramadan we clock an anniversary of the initiation of Quranic revelation. By the same token, we ought to focus on this concept that Badr was the initiation of many battles in the wake of the Ummah, and this signals the perpetuation of battles. In other words, Badr is ongoing. So when we look at most masjids today, I am sure, knowing what would be discussed, or what was discussed previously, people will be talking about those who are on haqq on one end, and those who are on falsehood on the other end, and fathers who are believers on one end, and sons who were disbelievers on the other end, and there was no compassion in terms of bloodline, etc. Well, this is the elementary focus on Badr. But Badr signals to us something much more. In fact, the Holy Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says there will come a time when the kuffar will feast on this ummah, and they will invite all to feast on this ummah. Can you imagine the kuffar who are not supposed to be benevolent? In fact, the Holy Prophet of Islam, speaking about this ummah, says, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يحب لأخيه ما يحب لنفسه. He is not a complete believer who does not wish for his brother what he wishes for himself. So the kuffar, these are not supposed to be their traits. But on the contrary, the Prophet of Islam says that there will come a time when the kuffar will feast on this ummah, not on food. They will feast on this ummah, and they will invite others to feast on this ummah, meaning they will be extremely gesturous, and that is not their trait. But when it comes to the feasting on this ummah, then they will invite others to feast on this ummah. Like when you see that Washington declares war, then the UK follows suit. Then Australia will also follow suit. When you contextualize what has happened recently and the norm which is in place, then of course you understand the foresight of the Holy Prophet of Islam when he says they will invite others to feast on this ummah. And then the Sahaba, Ridwanullahi ta'ala ajma'in, with intense concern asked, Ya Rasulullah, will we be so few in numbers? And this is the significance of Badr. When you look at 313, of course, وَهُوْ يُحِبُّ الْفِتْرِ, Allah is all and He loves all. So don't look at just the spiritual value, because people with Tawis also have some, they attach some value to 313. But look at the number. Look at how ill-equipped they were. So the Sahaba asked, Ya Rasulullah, would we be so few in numbers? The Prophet of Allah says, nay, you would be in large numbers, but two negative traits would be within you. Hubb dunya, excessive and intense desire for this world. Wa karahiyatul maut, and the distancing in terms of yearning for death. Now when you look at Badr, the Sahaba Ridwanullahi ta'ala ajma'in, those who participated in Badr, they were not trained individuals. In fact, youth stood on their toes so that they could fool or they could try to deceive the eyes of the selective team in terms of soliciting persons to fight in the way of Islam. Some of them succeeded. But nonetheless, the kuffar numbered 1,000 strong. All of them were armed. The Muslims only had, according to Ibn Ishaq's biography and many leading ulama who are muhaqqiqeen, or basically ulama of tariq, they say that among the followers of the Prophet Islam, there were only a few swords. The rest was, in terms of armament, consisted of sticks that were sharpened, etc., makeshift weapons. And today we find rich Gulf states purchasing from the West billions. It is an insult to the dignity of those who have given their souls for the glory of Islam and for the perpetuation of Islam. But when they met, now we believe in 6 principles. We believe in amantu billahi wa malaikatihi wa kutubihi wa rasulihi wa yawmil akhiri and so on. And of course we also believe amantu billahi wa malaika. Among the malaika, they are the divine functionaries of Allah. And when you look at the Quran states, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ, concerning the armed forces of Allah, their numbers are only known to Almighty Allah. Now when you look at the term armed forces, the Junud Rabbik, and if Allah is Ghani, He is totally independent of creation. So one will basically ask, what are the Junud Rabbi there for? Do you think Allah requires the armed forces of Almighty Allah, the Junud Rabbi? It obviously means those persons who strive in the way of Almighty Allah. But what does it mean? To strive in any good cause. In other words, what is Shahada? We give it a narrow definition. What is Jihad? We give it a narrow definition. Jihad takes place in the school. When a child enters grade R, that child is in the mode of jihad because that child is striving for the matric certificate. any obstacle basically should be mowed down. Of course, militarily we think on another level. But jihad means to strive. And jihad also means, and who is a martyr? If a person falls trying to protect himself and his own property, he falls as a martyr according to strict Islamic principles. So anyone who strives in the path of Almighty Allah and striving in the path of Almighty Allah does not necessarily mean striving to protect the mosque or basically striving to protect one group that is engaged in salah if there is a hostile community against them. So anyone who strives in the path of Almighty Allah, right, is in the path of jihad. And that is why the Quran states, وَمَا لَكُمْ لَا يُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And why should you not strive in the way of the Almighty Allah, in the path of the mustadifin, the men, women and children who say, رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا مِنْ هَذِهِ قَرْيَةِ الظَّالِمِ أَهْلُهَا وَاجْعَلْ لَنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا وَاجْعَلْ لَنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ نَصِيرًا. O Allah, raise from among you, raise from among them, one who will fight in our way against those oppressors. And O Allah, raise from among thee, رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا مِنْ هَذِهِ قَرْيَةِ الظَّالِمِ أَهْلُهَا وَاجْعَلْ لَنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا وَاجْعَلْ لَنَا مِنْ لَدُنْكَ نَصِيرًا. O Allah, raise from among thee one who will basically be the one to liberate us, to fight in our way, etc. And now you see the Palestinians, you find the people in Kashmir, the Muslim minority in India, in Burma, Muslims, wherever you find them, they are in the process of being butchered. What did we learn from the Battle of Badr? Badr gave rise to many other battles, and Badr took place in Ramadan. So remember, with every Ramadan, we clock an anniversary of the initiation of Quranic revelation. In like manner, when you look at Badr basically was the first battle fought in the defense of Islam. Of course, when I say it was the first battle fought in the defense of Islam, there are there's much critique on Badr. In fact, it was not just a war in defense of Islam. There was many, in fact, Orientalists have also accused the Holy Prophet of Islam to be an offensive. But what happened was, when the Muslims left Makkah al-Mukarramah, they left their goods. When they came to Medina al-Munawwara and the kuffar did not leave them at ease, then the Prophet of Islam was not reactionary, he was proactive. And he realized that instead of waiting for the kuffar to obliterate the ummah, so he also moved in the direction of Badr. And remember, it was also in the month of Ramadan that the conquest of Makkah also occurred. It was also in the month of Ramadan that Sayfuddin Quds put an end to the invading nature of whom? Genghis Khan, the Mongols. And this saved the world actually. Many people are not aware of the fact that much of the writings of Shaykh Sayyid al-Qadir al-Jilani was also destroyed. Great libraries in Baghdad was also destroyed because of the Mongols and how they killed Muslims. So in the month of Ramadan, Sayfuddin Quds caused the Mongols to be destroyed. It was also in the month of Ramadan that Salahuddin Ayyubi entered into the Bayt al-Maqdis al-Quds. And you know the famous statement, al-Quds fatahum al-Harriruha Salahuddin. All these significant battles took place in the month of Ramadan, but where Because the Muslims were very few in most of these battles. And they always, almost, faced great odds. It was the spirit of the people, of the martyrs of Badr. Now, as I sat here and the Imam said I should say something on Badr, he was also instructing the Muazzin, who is Shafi, that they should read the names of those who have fallen in Badr as tawassul. Tawassul means seeking Allah's grace, using their names as benediction. In other words, simply put, oh Allah, help us. Oh Allah, this is my need. And through the piety of those souls of Badr. Remember, وَمَا يَعْلَمُ جُنُودَ رَبِّكَ إِلَّا هُ. Concerning the armed forces of Almighty Allah, no one knows the numbers إِلَّا هُ. Only Almighty Allah Azza wa Jalla knows the numbers. Now coming to what's happening in Gaza, what's happening to the Muslim Ummah, the Ummah under siege. Very often, we as Muslims use blessings. We know the Quran states, Inna anzalnahu fi laylatil qadr. Surely we revealed it, meaning the initiation of Quranic revelation took place in the month of Ramadan. Now, the Quran states, Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. The night is better than 1,000 months. So people will camp in the masjid, waiting for 83 years and so many months. But the Quran, of course, every letter that you read, 10 hasna, 10 hasna, 10 hasna. But the Quran did not come for you to gain blessings. The Quran came as a manual. Your wife doesn't state, look in the kitchen and look at the cookbook or the recipe book and she says, a doll, mutton, and 10 hasnas. 10 hasnas does not make honey. 10 hasnas do not make samosa and those things that you want. It doesn't fill your stomach. But if she's reading it and she's comprehending, alhamdulillah, she's bahating the recipe. And when there's no book, then she can make your halim, etc. So the Quran, you get blessings. Likewise, camping in the mosque and waiting for Laylatul Qadr, you should do more. Read the Quran, study the Holy Quran. And it brings me to a very pronounced piece of advice. Ibn Abbas was seated in the masjid for itikaf. And those of you who know that there is boundaries, there are boundaries. And you do not leave, even if somebody close to you dies. Okay? If you're sitting for grade 1 itikaf. So a man enters the masjid, and Ibn Abbas observes that he was in a state of depression. There was something worrying him. And he approached the man and he said, can I intercede on your behalf? And the man said, yes, this is my problem. And immediately Ibn Abbas moved out of the boundary line. And the man said, oh cousin of the Holy Prophet, aren't you sitting for itikaf? Ibn Abbas immediately said, I can still hear the words of the inmate of that holy grave. And tears rolled down his cheeks and he said, I can still see him. And he said, whom the Prophet of Allah, that if a believer intercedes for his brother on any level, on the day of Qiyamah or in the dimensions to come, Almighty Allah will create 3 trenches barrier between him and the furnace of hell. Somebody said to me one day, Imam, make dua that I don't enter Jannah. I said, people always ask for dua to enter Jannah al-Firdaus and get the proximity of Almighty Allah Azza wa Jalla. Says, it will suffice if I don't enter hell. So 3 trenches difference between you and the furnace of hell. And the Holy Prophet of Islam says the distance, the width of each of these trenches is the distance between the heavens and the earth. Just for you to intercede for a brother. So we are waiting for Laylatul Qadr khayrun min alfi shahr. But here, How do we guarantee as to whether we will really get the opportunity? We will get the moment. But if you, on any level, at any stage of your life, intercede for a brother, this is what you will get. So my brothers, Badr is not there to just remember it as an incident in history. The Holy Quran is not there to celebrate. And still Muslims do not understand.